A long time ago, in a land called Judah, there lived a man named Isaiah. He was born during a complicated time, when God's people were divided into two kingdoms, Israel in the north and Judah in the south. In the first chapter of the book of Isaiah, we learn about the period he lived in, during the reigns of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. During this time, the people faced many challenges, and the world around them was changing quickly. Isaiah grew up in Jerusalem, a very important place for God's people. From a young age, he learned about God and the laws given to his people. Observing the world around him, Isaiah noticed how people lived and treated each other, and he was concerned that many did not follow God's ways. When Isaiah was young, King Uzziah ruled Judah. The Bible describes this time as one of prosperity, because Uzziah sought God and received blessings. The nation was thriving, its cities were growing, its army was strong, and new projects were being built. However, Isaiah saw that beneath this prosperity lay hidden problems. Some people were becoming very rich, while others grew poorer, and many began worshipping false gods, forgetting the true God who had freed their ancestors. The surrounding world also posed a threat. Assyria was growing powerful, and its expansion worried the people of Judah, some of whom wanted to form alliances with other nations for protection. Isaiah, however, knew that true security came from trusting God, not relying on foreign powers. One day, Isaiah experienced a life-changing event. While he was in the temple, he had a vision of God, seated on a majestic throne, his glory filling the temple. Around the throne were seraphim, celestial beings, praising God with powerful voices that made the temple shake. Overwhelmed by God's holiness, Isaiah realized his own sinfulness and that of his people. He cried out in despair, believing he was unworthy to be in God's presence. But instead of condemning Isaiah, God purified him. A seraph touched Isaiah's lips with a coal from the altar, symbolizing the cleansing of his sins. Then, Isaiah heard God's voice asking, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" Without hesitation, Isaiah responded, "Here am I, send me." From that moment on, Isaiah's life was dedicated to serving God as his prophet, delivering messages of hope, warning, and redemption to the people. Marked God's power and his mercy, reminding Hezekiah and all of Judah that God was in control of time, life, and destiny itself. It was a powerful demonstration of God's ability to intervene in human affairs, and it reaffirmed Isaiah's role as a messenger of both warning and hope. Isaiah's ministry remains one of the most profound in the Bible, showing the challenges and rewards of being faithful to God's calling even in difficult times. Through his visions, prophecies, and unwavering faith, Isaiah left a legacy that continues to inspire and guide believers to this day. The whole world. This light symbolized hope, salvation, and God's presence shining upon his people. It was not only a promise of deliverance, but also a reminder of their role to reflect God's glory and bring hope to others. Isaiah's prophecies weave a rich tapestry of judgment, redemption, and restoration, showcasing God's sovereignty and his deep love for humanity. From the immediate challenges of Assyrian and Babylonian threats to the distant promises of a Messiah and a new creation, Isaiah's messages continue to resonate. They remind us of God's faithfulness, his ultimate control over history, and his unchanging desire to restore all things, making his people a source of light and blessing to the world. Isaiah's prophecies reflect a profound hope and restoration that extends beyond his immediate audience, touching on themes of inclusion, peace, healing, and divine transformation. Isaiah conveys God's desire to bring people from all nations to worship, emphasizing that his house will be called a house of prayer for all nations. This universal vision demonstrates that God's plan transcends Israel, inviting all humanity into a relationship with him. The imagery in Isaiah's messages often evokes vivid scenes of transformation, like the desert blossoming in Isaiah 35 verses 1 to 2. The barren wilderness bursting into bloom symbolizes the revitalization God can bring, even in the most desolate circumstances. Similarly, Isaiah 2:4 envisions a world where peace prevails, as weapons are repurposed into tools for cultivation, reflecting God's ultimate aim for a harmony among nations. Isaiah also speaks of miraculous physical restoration in chapter 35 verse 5 to 6, where the blind see, the deaf hear, and the lame leap with joy. These promises highlight God's power to heal and renew, offering hope that suffering and brokenness will one day be replaced with wholeness and joy. This is complemented by Isaiah 43 to 18:19, where God declares He's doing something new. Urging His people to embrace the fresh ways, He manifests His power and grace. Despite the hope in His prophecies, Isaiah faced significant opposition. In Isaiah 30:1, he reveals how people resisted His messages, preferring comforting lies over inconvenient truths. He courageously confronted false prophets and leaders who relied on political alliances rather than trusting God, as seen in Isaiah 31:1. His perseverance in delivering God's message, even when it meant personal hardship, underscores his unwavering faith. Ultimately, Isaiah's visions of a glorious future are among his most inspiring messages. In Isaiah 61:1-2, he speaks of the Lord's anointed bringing freedom, healing, and good news, a prophecy fulfilled by Jesus. His descriptions of a new heaven and earth in chapters 65 and 66 portray a future where God's people experience everlasting joy, free from sorrow and injustice. The restoration of Jerusalem in Isaiah 60:1 encapsulates the culmination of God's redemptive work, transforming the city into a beacon of His glory and the center of worship for all nations. Isaiah's prophecies continue to resonate as a profound source of hope, emphasizing God's faithfulness, inclusivity, and the transformative power of His love. Isaiah's prophetic messages encapsulate God's overarching plan for redemption and hope, reaching far beyond the immediate audience of his time. He foresaw a day when people from all corners of the earth would come to know and worship the God of Israel. This vision of inclusivity was profoundly significant for the people of Israel, especially as they faced exile and the destruction of their homeland. Isaiah offered reassurance that even in their darkest hours, God's plan to restore and elevate them remains steadfast. One of Isaiah's most poignant messages comes in his great invitation, found in chapter 55. In verses 1-2, he calls out, "Come, all you who are thirsty. Come to the waters, and you who have no money. Come, buy and eat. Come, buy wine and milk. Without money and without cost, why spend money on what is not bread, and your labor on what does not satisfy?" This heartfelt invitation emphasizes that God's blessings, such as forgiveness, love, and grace, are freely available to all. They are not earned by wealth or effort, but are gifts to those who seek Him. Isaiah extends an assurance of God's eternal covenant in chapter 55 verse 3, promising enduring love and faithfulness to those who respond to His call. "Give ear and come to me. Listen, that ye may live. I will make an everlasting covenant with you. My faithful love promise to David." These words underscore the enduring nature of God's promises and His unwavering commitment to His people. Isaiah's concluding visions emphasize redemption, restoration, and ultimate renewal. These messages, filled with hope, show that God's ultimate goal is not destruction, but the creation of a perfect, restored world where justice, peace, and worship prevail. Isaiah speaks of a glorious future, including new heavens and a new earth. Isaiah 65-17, where joy replaces sorrow and God's people live in everlasting harmony. Lessons from Isaiah's life and ministry. Isaiah's ministry teaches timeless lessons about faith, courage, and perseverance. Faced with constant opposition, ridicule, and challenging tasks, Isaiah remained steadfast in his calling. Whether delivering messages of judgment, or performing symbolic acts, like walking barefoot, as a sign against nations, Isaiah chapter 20 verses 2-3, he trusted God's greater plan and followed his instructions faithfully. Through Isaiah's prophecies, we learn that even in moments of despair, God is working to bring about his redemptive purposes. His vision of the Messiah, the restoration of Israel, and the ultimate harmony of all nations remind us that God's love is unconditional, his justice perfect, and his promises unshakable. Isaiah's words, written millennia ago, continue to inspire believers today. They encourage us to live with integrity, seek justice, trust in God's plans, and share his message of hope with others. As we reflect on Isaiah's profound legacy, may we be moved to embody his faithfulness and courage, spreading the good news of God's love and purpose in our own time. Thank you for journeying through the life and prophecies of Isaiah. May his words guide and transform our lives, just as they have for countless generations.